heard just one look and I rule the world. I don't try, but I come in first, and that's the way it always works.
I'm here in New York City to meet two groundbreaking women, Cleo Wade and Elaine Welteroth. Artist, poet, and author Cleo Wade has captured everyone's attention with her uplifting handwritten messages. And her first book, Heart Talk, Poetic Wisdom for a Better Life, was an immediate bestseller. At age 30, Elaine was named editor-in-chief of the print edition of Teen Vogue, making her one of the youngest people to helm a Condé Nast publication. Along with Philip Picardi and Reese Suter, Elaine helped reinvent Teen Vogue. She's also co-written an episode of Grownish and just landed a major book deal. I'm meeting these two best friends at their new co-working space, where they're coming together to inspire the next generation of women.
Oh my God, it's so cold.
You look so chic.
Hi.
So very New York.
I am not a New Yorker. I'm so good. Thank
Welcome
you so much for having
to New
me.
York. Come up, come up, come up.
I can't wait to see your new space.
Let's get you out of this cold.
Okay.
So original, unbelievable. Once you see it, gonna need it. Feelings undefeatable.
Okay, so you've only been here for a few days.
Literally, this is day one of forever. Cleo, we have a guest.
Yeah, oh my God.
Oh my God.
How lucky am I that I get to be the first one?
You look like you're busy at work.
I'm just putting some mantras in place, kind of set the tone of the space.
We were gonna stage the space
Yes.
for you as
Okay.
well.
Yes.
So you're gonna be a part of like christening the
Do you
space.
sage your house?
Yes, I do. After any kind of disturbance
Yeah.
or breakup.
Even if I have a hostile house guest, I'm like, right when they
Yeah,
leave,
right.
okay, see you next week, girl.
Get out there. Totally, totally.
Do you want to do the honors?
Sure. Okay, I love this is happening.
We're so ridiculous. Get her.
Need
Get
it.
her.
Don't say get me like
I met Cleo through a story that I wanted her to do for Teen Vogue. And I reached out to her, and she writes me back, Goddess, why don't you come over for a cup of tea? Love, Cleo. I'm like, who is this fairy? Like, what planet does she live on?
So Elaine comes over to my house, and what I love about her so much is that a moment begins when she enters the room, because she's kind of like, comes in and it's like, oh, blah, 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 da-da-da, da-da-da, like, boom, you know, and you are just mesmerized by her.
We sat, we talked.
We had a bottle of wine.
I swear, I feel like I left with a sister.
You're both on this new journey, and you're doing it together in a shared space, which is amazing.
We already had been like collaborating and talking about all the decisions.
But we were doing it over like slumber parties.
Right, like in bed.
So we'd be in bed, and we'd be having takeout, we'd be watching a movie, plotting
our takeover
the
of the
world.
world.
So we really were plotting. It started as just slumber parties, and then I was like, maybe we should just have, you know, a space where other people could come who don't have to know me so well that they're in my bed.
Right. And so you created this space.
Yeah, so we created this
And
space.
you designed this space.
Yes.
I did. I'm like low-key, do I give up the poetry thing and become a decorator?
Right.
Right.
I'm excited about this.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I've been waiting for this.
When I was selling it, I was like, I'm not making a book of just poetry. I really want to make a toolkit. I want to make a guide, and I also want to make something.
I love that, a toolkit for people. Yeah.
Before I wrote the book, I sat down and I was like, I'm making a promise to this reader, and I promise you that you will feel less alone because I made this for you.
I definitely feel that way when I read your work. I just feel like seen, heard, and acknowledged in a way that I've never felt acknowledged before.
When I was writing the book, it was really interesting because I focus a lot on the joy of being able to be imperfect.
That's a tough one.
Oh, it's so tough.
Enjoying imperfection.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I do think we as women are so hard on ourselves.
I wasn't even brave enough to dream this for myself as a little girl. I've never even seen a poem in the New York Times. I never thought that I'd write one in the New York Times. I grew up poor and in Louisiana. I wasn't a great classroom learner. I didn't have enough money to go to college. I moved to New York at 17. It's such an adventure to also be a poet and an artist at this time, because back in the day, like a gallery had to break an artist. Now you break yourself as an artist because the online spaces allow you to do that. I think that Instagram really democratizes the art world, and for me, it really has been such an incredible community building tool.
So, Elaine, I've heard you speak about that race walks in the door before your accomplishments or who you are as Elaine. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think it is something where definitions can be a headline, but it isn't necessarily how you feel in your heart.
I was just a girl that worked really hard and got a great job, right? But then I learned that I had made history. And I saw in the headlines I was the first Black editor-in-chief at Teen Vogue.
And you had no idea until
I had
you
no
read it
idea.
in the newspaper.
Yeah, I had no idea. All roads sort of led to that. I started my career at Ebony magazine, which is a Black magazine, and I've always known, so taking it back to like that existential crisis at 19 or 20 when I was about to graduate from college, and I was like, holy shit. I don't think the universe or the world that we live in prepares young women to take leaps or to dream big or to even see a path towards a larger vision of your life. I knew I wanted to be great, but I just didn't know what the title was or what what it would look like. And so I remember locking myself in my mom and dad's study. I was home for Thanksgiving break, and I prayed and I Googled, and I was just like, what should I do with my life? Google? Like,
But why did Google say?
I know, Google didn't have anything for me, okay? This is why we needed your book then. But no, but I Googled so many different internships and stuff, and I remember my mom had an Ebony magazine with Alicia Keys on the cover and this fabulous red dress, and I normally would never pick up Ebony because it's like your auntie's magazine, but I was like, oh, I love Alicia, so I opened straight to her cover story, and it was as if I audibly heard to Google this woman's name, the woman who wrote the story. Her name was Harriet Cole. So I Googled Harriet Cole. I read her bio. She was a magazine editor for 11 years in fashion and beauty, and then she became a best-selling author. She basically translated her value system across mediums. She became the brand. And it was like a light bulb had gone off in the darkest room. This is what I'm supposed to do. I need to meet her. And I found her assistant's phone number, and I called every day. They absolutely thought I was crazy, for sure. They were like, this girl, and I was like, it's okay, I will, if she's not available, I will just fly to New York. And they were like, don't fly to New York.
Don't call
like,
us
you're
anymore.
insane. So eventually they were like, to make this girl stop calling, let's just set up the phone call, get it out of the way. 4 months later, Harriet calls me back, and she was like, Elaine, this is Harriet. I'm looking for an assistant.
What?
And I was just like, what? Looking back, it's like, of course that girl is supposed to be a magazine editor. You know, I would make these elaborate collages. Now I had the language for it. These were layouts, you know? This was my way of storytelling and sharing my life. And now you have Instagram, which is sort of the online version, the social networking version of that. But really, I'm just a girl who likes to scrapbook. I grew up with a Black mother, a white father, but my mom really exposed me to Black culture. She made sure that on Sundays I was at a Black church, even though I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. She made sure that I got my hair done in a Black salon. And so I've always had this real appreciation for Black beauty and Black culture and the community. I felt like I was meant to be a bridge. Like I was meant to bring positive messages of what Black people are, what we look like, what Black excellence is, and bring that to mainstream. Being from a mixed race household, I kind of always felt like I was in between two worlds. Things as small as just not having a Band-Aid that actually matches your skin tone reinforces this idea that you are other and you are not the norm, and your beauty is not the standard, and you are not, you know, desirable. It goes deep.
As a person who saw Teen Vogue, as I have a teenager at home, saw the evolution where it became a much more engaging conversation with these young girls. And as a young white woman, and I was always reading 17 and Teen and Vogue and all these things and always seeing myself represented, it was like suddenly the lights were turned on and we were starting to see different ideas of beauty and different ideas of political activism. I'm learning more about what is white feminism, what is intersectionality.
Right.
And those are things like you don't know what they are because I am a victim of my own privilege.
It's heartening to me to hear you even use the word privilege, by the way. To even have the language and the understanding that you have privilege and that you're willing to check it is so, like,
Teen Vogue's doing its job, you know?
You are, because my daughter reads your magazine and her friends read your magazine and they educate me. You know, I wish somebody, when I was a young girl, had been writing about that in my magazines, but they weren't.
At Teen Vogue, I had a social responsibility to create a space that was inclusive, where you can be on the front lines of the Black Lives Matter march no matter what color skin you have, and also like be obsessed with Bieber and Selena and like, are they getting back together?
I never want to be categorized as an influencer or as like...
I don't think of either one of y'all as influencers.
Well, it's like one of my least favorite words, but you know, if you're going to use it, sort of what are you going to use your influence for at a time like this? Anyway.
Changemakers.
You got to come up with something new.
Yeah, we need something else to brand an active woman who's changing hearts and minds.
Ooh.
Do you know?
Ooh, I'm borrowing that.
That's
going to be on my
action figure, ladies.
Active woman.
Who is actively
Elaine
changing hearts
Welteroth,
and minds.
active woman.
Yeah, you might have heard of me. Yeah, nice to meet you. I love it.
And I think that a lot of what most women struggle with is reconciling your girlhood dreams with your womanhood dreams. You've dreamt your whole life of the career you want. And then when we get to these spaces, it's all of a sudden you're hearing this faint knock at the door and it getting louder and louder. And it's your womanhood who's coming in saying, okay, now what? What are you doing with the power you just got? You don't really get to have just like intention be good enough anymore.
Yeah, I had that wake-up call, like, I've been so blessed in the trajectory I've had in publishing, but there's something else for me. I want to take the skill set of, you know, being a storyteller, and I want to translate that across other mediums.
3 months ago, I walked into Anna Wintour's office and I resigned. I loved every moment of my career at Teen Vogue, but it was time to write my next chapter across TV and film and books, starting with my first book that I'm working on now, and the sky is the limit.
I've been so blessed to have friends like Cleo, who it has been like my spirit guide on this leaping out on my own, because she's done it already. I mean, she had a career in fashion that she doesn't really talk about very much. People probably don't know that about her, but she had to take the leap as well. But watching her boldness and her intentionality and how she builds her business for the betterment of all women, and all of that has been so inspiring to me.
I love one of the things that you wrote about unsubscribing. I thought that was so powerful. When I read that, I thought, I've never heard anybody say it like that. And it just gave me chills to think about unsubscribing to other people's ideas of what a woman's supposed to be.
This fight against the silencing of women, which I think started with the Women's March and then carried through with movements like Me Too and Time's Up, I think when it hit, it really gave me permission to say nope. And I think that we have to remember that our hell no's are as important as our hell yeses.
Yes, I love that, yeah.
When we can say, no, I don't feel that way anymore. I don't think that's okay anymore. I won't accept that behavior anymore.
Is it sometimes hard to take your own advice?
Everything I write is something I practice. So I don't really look at it as advice. You know, when I write, I want to be gentle with where people are.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of it can be pushy, especially, you know, when you write in the kind of spiritual or political space. I don't think it's that inclusive all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
A few years ago, I did this public art installation where it was inspired by Lucy from the Peanuts, and it was a booth that I put in.
Oh, I read about this.
Yeah, I put it in this park in the Lower East Side, and it was an Are You OK booth.
Yeah.
And it said free, peaceful, and loving conversation.
Yeah.
And I had young person after young person after young person. I mean, just tell me these heartbreaking stories. One person said to me, you know, as a gay Latina, plus-size woman, I've been told my whole life there's no space for me in the world, so I walk around trying to take up as little space as possible. And she said, so how could I deserve love because love is so big? And I remember making a promise to myself that day that I'd always get up every morning for these girls. Elaine and I talk about a lot how and why we pick certain projects or certain things. You know, sometimes it's just 5-year-old me, 6-year-old me never saw someone who looked like me doing this. You have to do it.
Yeah.
One of the things that bonds us and that makes us feel like we have common ground is like we really care about young girls. Personally and professionally, we've made great strides, but there's more to do. And I think that there is so much wisdom locked up in the stories women don't tell.
Right.
You know, I think it's really important when we start to think of how to activate ourselves as citizens. Like, what do you do locally? What do you do nationally? What do you do globally? And so one of the things that we do locally is work with the Lower East Side Girls Club, which is the most amazing facility for young girls who are living in underserved communities. And we are going to take you over there today.
Really? Oh my God, I would love to meet them.
I'm so excited.
So let's go meet the girls. I admire what Elaine and Cleo are trying to accomplish in this world. They are determined to make a difference through activism, through journalism, through creativity, through poetry and art.
There's no modern playbook to be female and a boss, because all of the role models we've had have been men. But I've found that when you trust people, when you're there for them as a mentor, when you ask for the person in the room that you've noticed hasn't had an opportunity to speak, it shifts the alchemy in the entire room, and you're actually, by example, training a new generation of leaders.
I think every woman thinks, what can I do for a younger woman to make this a different world for her? How can we do more?
I'm so excited.
The Lower East Side Girls Club is 3 blocks from my house, so it really is in my community. I have done panels with them. I've sat in on their art classes. Sometimes I just go and hang out with the girls, and to see the way that these girls are knowing their right to their voice so early is so incredible.
So tell me when the Girls Club started.
So we were founded in 1996. There were 3 boys clubs in this neighborhood and no program specifically for girls. So a group of women from the community got together and decided no one's gonna do it for us, so we're starting a girls club.
And we provide meals every day that we're open too. So full vegetarian meals, we grow some food on our roof.
It took everyone in this community really coming together to fight for this. So
Yeah, and bringing their own special skills to the table.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
But you haven't seen anything yet. This is just the beginning.
So how many girls come here?
About 300 a week, and we teach our young women to be entrepreneurs and start their own businesses.
Okay, so this is our sewing room, and here we have like the younger girls and some of the high school girls make pot holders, we make aprons, we make shirts. We have a store called Essex Market. The high school girls, they work there and they sell our products to help make money for the Lower East Side Girls Club. This is one of the short aprons, and
so
basically we have the girls sign their names on here to see who made them.
This is so
Great
cool.
job,
Thank
Aisha.
you.
That's awesome.
We love the Girls Club. I've been here for like since 5th grade. I love it.
What's your favorite thing that you've learned here that you wouldn't have learned anywhere else?
I don't want to cry, but like I've been here for so long, and like I go through like a lot of struggles like outside of Girls Club, and so when I come here, it makes me feel really happy, and like they just welcome you, and not only do they teach Girls Club like how to sew, but they teach you like life experiences. Like if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have a job. Like I'm just really thankful for that. Like they teach me a lot of stuff.
At Girls Club, we learn at a young age. Even though we might not know who we are, we know what can we do, and especially in a community where it seems like you're helpless. I know that I can turn my passion into something that's gonna help other people.
Do you think they should make more of these girls clubs?
Yes, it's sad that there's a whole bunch of boys club and not enough girls club.
Well, thank you for sharing your stories. It makes me so happy. That's amazing, y'all. This is so cool.
You wanna try?
Yeah.
Oh no, you're gonna make me thread it.
Yeah, you're gonna thread it. Reese, you're going the wrong way.
I'm going the wrong way.
You gotta go this way, through the line.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
I knew that. Ow! I stabbed myself. Ow!
Oh, where do I put it?
Wait, where's this in there?
Okay.
With
You did it! Oh my God, my mom's gonna be so upset at me.
So we're heading to our wonderful sound studio. Our philosophy is give a girl a mic, you give a girl a voice, right? You're training them to sort of empower themselves through conversation and through research and question asking. So we have a little podcast set up. So this is our Airstream trailer.
Oh, wow.
Aisha's waiting for us.
WGRL.
On the radio.
Take it away, Aisha.
Hi, I'm Aisha Sharif from the Lower East Side Girls Club, and you're listening to WGRL, where Girl Radio lives, and we're here with Reese Witherspoon, Cleo Wade, and Elaine Welteroth. Thank you guys for coming, and welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Our first question is actually for you, Reese.
Oh.
I was wondering, as a young filmmaker myself, what the Time's Up movement is going to mean for my generation, and not just for young women who are going into the film industry, but also just in industries as a whole.
Well, that's a great question. I think when we're trying to eliminate discrimination, create more inclusion, making sure every voice is heard and there are more seats at the table for different kinds of storytellers.
I know, I feel like I'm sort of a recipient of women like you who have kind of been an example of not being stuck in a box. And you're now creating opportunities for more women, and I want to do that too. So it's an exciting time to be alive, and it's an exciting time to be a woman. And what I ask myself every day is the same thing that I'd ask of you. It's like, what are you going to do with the platform that you've been given? Because this is an opportunity.
The movements that are the most effective are when people are actually changing how they think culturally. So if there's a new cultural movement where women are saying time is up, I think that makes much more of a difference, because then when it's my generation, we're going to expect to be treated this way because that's how we're being raised up.
New standards.
Exactly.
It's time that we stand up for the younger generation as well.
I'll just end with what advice you guys have for me, but me as in other young women.
And if there's anything I really want your generation to know is that it's new territory. So we really need each other and we need to be in it together.
This is Aisha, and you've been listening to WGRL.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So fun. We had way too much fun with these microphones.
I know.
Thank you.
What's the podcast called?
It's WGRL, Where Girl Radio Lives, on iTunes. So here we are in the Alphabet City Art School here. Fabulous ladies. Cleo actually sent over a poem that we're going to work on in a little bit here. The Lower East Side Girls Club represents everything girl power. We are training the next generation of young women to be leaders, to be entrepreneurs, to travel, to change the world. And so this beautiful poem by Cleo is very fitting for the work that we do.
And because this is about girl power and your power, it should be about how you see it and how you would do it and defining your style within the word. So do you, baby boo. We are living in such an intense time and space. What I love the most about the Lower East Side Girls Club is that they give kids a space to be kids.
Bam. I hope that adults are talking to their daughters and their daughters' friends. I hope they're inviting them to have critical, constructive conversations because they have an opinion and it matters.